somebody else has ripped off the title of my podcast, The Art of Living. Big Hollywood star Matthew McConaughey, and the way he started this is billed as a real time live event. Hundreds of thousands of people actually subscribed and joined his channel live to listen to him, to speak, to share words of wisdom. I was really amused the other day when I noticed that somebody else has ripped off the title of my podcast, The Art of Living. And it happens to be no other than a big Hollywood star, Matthew McConaughey. And he's slightly different, that he's missing a G at the end of Art of Living. He's Art of Living. And the way he started this is billed as a real time live event where hundreds of thousands of people actually subscribed and joined his channel live to listen to him, to speak, to share words of wisdom. And what was the most funniest thing about this so-called live event is that here's a Hollywood star who is also an author who wrote a book a few years ago called Green Lights, in which he documented his journey from all the journals that he has been writing from a childhood age, his trials, tribulations, his experiences, and his encounters with different people, in order to distill that into some sort of a wisdom life experience that he's sharing with people. So obviously people thought this event is like an extension of that. And this is, I was just reading the reviews of, basically there were people sitting, while where he was sitting, there was like a big sort of pixel of screens with people's faces, all these people who are joined online, and these were the ones who had paid, were the ones who were, had some sort of a little screen at the back. There were many others who were able to chat to him through the chat function. So basically 400,000 people joined him live on YouTube. And here Matthew McConaughey sort of goes into expanding on his Green Lights book and how to give, he's sort of purporting to give people deeper, even more practical tips now on how to basically better their life. And it doesn't use the word self-help, but this is exactly what they were sort of alluding to: self-growth, self-exploration, self-development, and many metaphors, I say cliche metaphors, were used here. And basically, the people were typing in on the chat forum as to why they are here, and Matthew was reading them out aloud. I want a better life. I want to be a better husband. I'm lonely. I want to keep growing. The typical sort of stuff that people desire in their lives. So nothing sort of unusual there. So we all have these sort of various desires of some sort in our life. So this is the punchline. I'm coming to that. This basically gets really hilarious, if you know what I mean. For those of you probably know already, that he keeps telling you about clearing your past, and then he tells you about his own story, how he became famous overnight after the release of his 1996 film, A Time to Kill, which basically was shaken to his core by the attention that he received, which was too much for him to handle. He sought out a monastery in the desert and counsel from a resident monk, and he was there pouring his heart out for 4.5 hours to this monk. And after this monk, called Brother Christian, never said a single word in 4.5 hours. And after 4.5 hours, Matthew McConaughey found himself with no more anguish to expend. Brother Christian, the so-called self-styled monk, leaned in and he said, "Me too." With those 2 words, Brother Christian invited me back to the human race. McConaughey tells us he invited us to speak our fears aloud, to confess. Then he comes up close to the camera. Me too. So basically he was sort of sort of creating that conversation he had with the monk. And here, in this particular virtual setting, he was now this so-called monk, Brother Christian, and all this audience was Matthew McConaughey, as in that original conversation when he had with the monk. And it keeps going, and until right towards the end, he's telling people that we need to embrace individual talent, something you should be pretty good, do it on a consistent basis. Maybe you're a great whistler. He whistles in a jaunty tune to canned laughter. So they had canned laughter in this virtual event, which is great. And for nearly 2 hours, McConaughey, who hasn't stopped moving, rhyming, drumming, singing, jumping, mesmerizing his crowds, he's taking them all on a journey, and where he basically corners them and tells them that you need to join my online course. And what a great deal they are told. What a great offer. What a great prize that they are being offered, because he's joined up with a celebrity entrepreneur and business author, Dean Graziosi. Normally this course would cost $4,507, but today it's all yours for $397. And the audience is then shown a 10-minute commercial, and in the chat function, people are actually then start blatantly slating him, saying this whole 2 hours was a long commercial. And somebody responds, this is America. No doubt the course will make you $1 gazillion all the same. And the organizers don't turn off the chat, and it's being flooded with angry, crying emojis. Basically, people realize that they have been conned after those 2 hours. Look, there's no such thing as something for nothing. This celebrity, he wants to share his wisdom with you. He wants to give you this access to this virtual event. And what he's doing, he's just another snake oil salesman. He's peddling his product to you. So you become a consumer of some rubbish sort of business strategy, theory, wisdom that he's sharing with you. So I hope people realize that they are out there being conned, and these people, just because they are celebrities, doesn't make them any different. Their shit smells just like anybody else, so take them with a pinch of salt. So people were actually writing the whole 2 hours was a long commercial, so they actually feel so stupid and feel duped that this guy who is sitting there sharing practical wisdom to help make their life better. And there's people writing in the comments, I need to make more money, I'm poor, I need to progress in my life. What is he doing? He's basically throwing the bait to take more money off them. These are people who said don't have money anyway. They're already feeling shit. But this guy wants more of their money. He's trying to suck them into a business scheme or some sort of an online course with his so-called business partner, and they're probably promising these people it's going to change their life, they're going to make billions and gazillion of dollars. What people need to realize, these guys are no different to the snake oil salesman out there conning people. That's exactly what this is. This is nothing but just a con, but again, an online, smart, sophisticated way, just being done by a celebrity. Just because he's a celebrity, he's no wiser than anybody else. He's no better than anybody else. He's just another normal guy who's out to make money. His shit smells just like anybody else. So don't get duped by their celebrity status. If they were that good, they wouldn't be charging you money to give you pearls of wisdom.